All right. I didn't want to have to make this, I'll be honest with you. But I thought I'd do my due diligence, and if you can't tell by the title of this video, we're going to be discussing and breaking down the Borderlands 4 trailer. This isn't a live reaction. I've seen the trailer a few times. I've had conversations with close friends of mine that care about the Borderlands franchise, and I'm making this video to basically break down the trailer overall, number one, and pick up on little things that I generally think is going to happen for the game, the future of the game, and pretty much why I'm done with the franchise. And, maybe you're not that interested in Borderlands, and maybe you've already cut ties with it. However, I just want to say, just because, and I'm going to say this right now, I like Borderlands 2 over Borderlands 3. As controversial as that might be nowadays. Hot takes inbound. Yeah, I do like Borderlands 2 over 3, and I would genuinely put Borderlands 2 as one of the best games ever made, even in its current state. Now, I know the updates with Sanctuary, Lilith, whatever the fuck it was called, the recent DLC they added when Borderlands 3 came out, I understand that the game isn't in the best state it's ever been, but I still think if you look at it overall, it's one of the best games ever made. And I played a lot of games over my time, I put Borderlands 2 in the categories of, like, the Elden Ring tier, the GTA 5s, maybe GTA 6 does better, we'll see, I put Borderlands 2 in very high regards. I grew up playing the Borderlands franchise, to be fair. The likes with Bioshock, the likes with, what else did I play? I played Dungeon Defenders. I played a lot of games. I played a lot of games in my time, Currently, right now, it's Marvel Rivals. By the way, I'm Diamond 1, so, just saying. Anyways, if you don't know me, I like doing videos on anything I'm passionate about. That's why I'm making this video. I'm passionate about the Borderlands franchise, but I'm cutting ties with it. Gonna be honest, I don't think I'm purchasing this title. Maybe something will pull me in, but we'll get into the breakdown. I don't want to get into that now. I will say I am more of a fan of Borderlands 2 over 3. Now, if you already want to type your comment and be like, oh my god, you just don't like Borderlands 4 because it's not Borderlands 3, or it's not Borderlands 2. I get it. You're probably a 5-year-old and you don't understand the difference between liking something and something being objectively bad. I get it, right? You can't accept that other people have different opinions from you. But if you enjoy Borderlands 3 over 2, I don't think you're wrong. You can enjoy a game that is not objectively better, but you can also, if your take is that Borderlands 3 is a more complete game than Borderlands 2, I would argue you're wrong, and we could have an argument about it, but I just want to say, to the people who love Borderlands 3, I don't want Borderlands 2.5 for Borderlands 4. That's not why I'm going to be cutting ties. I want a good Borderlands game. And the people who like Borderlands 2 and the people who like Borderlands 3, those are the two biggest titles, if you're wondering why I'm comparing the two. A lot of people argue which one's better, either 3 or 2. Obviously, the ones who think 2 is better are the correct ones. But no. If you do like, regardless if you like 2 or 3, we can all agree we want a good Borderlands game. Say it with me now. We want a good Borderlands game. We don't want Borderlands 2.5. We don't want Borderlands 3.5. We want Borderlands 4, okay? I think everyone can agree with that before someone starts typing, you're just objectively wrong. Because I'll probably have a pretty good thumbnail of some sort of meme that's going to trigger some pussy boys that can't handle the idea that someone dislikes Borderlands 3 and prefers Borderlands 2. I've seen it, man. It's crazy these days, but yeah, we want a good Borderlands game, okay? There's just a lot of red flags I'm seeing here. So, with all that being said, let's get into the trailer breakdown. I've done a breakdown of the reveal trailer, if you want to go ahead and watch that. I did a whole breakdown. It was a really long video, so, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you're looking for videos that I'm passionate about. I upload consistently 4 times a week. Shameless plug is now over. Let's get into the breakdown. So, obviously, we're going to be starting with this video. I don't think I'm going to get copyrighted for playing the video, but I'm not playing the audio for obvious reasons. I'm not trying to get copyrighted. I will say, initial impressions, I'm not impressed by this trailer. But let's get into it. So at the very beginning here, we get the Peggy fucking 18, whatever. So off the bat, we get, and this is probably the first time I've done a video game trailer breakdown off of my face cam, to be honest with you. So, hey, feel free to enjoy the jawline. Anyways, we have what appears to be some sort of chest, maybe a doll chest, maybe a bandit chest. Doesn't really matter too much, but a generic background in general, and that's a recurring theme. I've seen a lot of people already break this down, and yes, I have watched Jolt's dude, Killer 6, Moxie, back when Moxie used to play the game. Morning After Kill was the main YouTuber I used to watch in terms of Borderlands content way back in the day, before he had that falling out in Borderlands 3, which it was justified because he was just saying things he saw. He wasn't under NDA, and yeah, there's a whole... If you want to open up a can of worms, I suggest you to go check out that Morning After Kill Borderlands drama, because that shit is actually fucking hilarious, how they fumbled the bag with Morning After Kill. And I don't agree with pretty much everyone. You know, some people glaze this game's trailer already a little too much, and some people are a little too harsh on the game. I'm going to try to give a fairly objective take in terms of most of the things going on. One of the reoccurring things you're going to see is background talk. A lot of people, I think, are talking about background clutter, background just being too vibrant, a little too much shit going on in the background, and we'll get into that as the trailer goes on. But right off the bat, this looks very generic. This looks very Pandora-esque, you know? And it's important to mention that Borderlands 4 is almost a soft reset. It's not like a cataclysmic event or anything going on. It's no Final Fantasy XIV event going on, or World of Warcraft style. This is where I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe, as far as my knowledge goes, you're not on Pandora. You are on a completely different planet in a different area where I believe it was Elpis that teleported. Something basically happened, and you're not going to see characters that you're familiar with, is my understanding of what's going on. So for all intents and purposes, it's a soft reboot. In a sense, you know? You can call it a soft reboot, however you want to call it, but in a sense, it's a soft reboot. Anyways, so we see the chest, we see the background, and we see the Siren character. Moving on. He's opening the chest, and something that I already don't like about the trailer, and that's just... Maybe it's always been a thing, and yes, I have 100%... My experience with the Borderlands games, 100% of Borderlands 1. I played Borderlands 2 a fuck ton. I probably have close to 1,000, if not over 1,000 hours in the game. And I played a lot of Borderlands 3. I think I have 300 to 500 hours, arguably. Not arguably, what the fuck am I talking about? Sorry, I'm in MMA mode. I just did a bunch of MMA videos. But, yeah, I played a lot of Borderlands 3. I finished the games. I played all the characters. I know my Borderlands, okay? So if anyone wants to be like, actually, fuck off. Actually, you haven't played any of the games. Yes, I have. Anyway, I was gonna say a word. Anyways, yeah, so the chest. It's really chunky. I don't like, this looks like a very cartoony chest. You know, I don't like that. I'm not really, maybe it's always been like that, and I think it has always been like that in Borderlands 3, and yes, I'm aware it's the same engine, but this is a $80, let's be honest, guys, $100 game that's gonna come out. Right? You gotta justify the price tag. Just because it's in the same engine doesn't mean it needs to look exactly the same. You know? There's plenty of examples of games that have, you know, 1 going to 2, 2 going to 3, 3 going to 4, where even though they're in similar engines, they look completely different, or the vibe is different, you know? Even, you could arguably say Borderlands 2 to the pre-sequel are fairly different games, mainly because pre-sequel mix it up with a lot of mechanics, but we'll get into it. But yeah, at the very start, a lot of background, just looks like Pandora, to be honest with you, even though that it's not supposed to be on Pandora. A little bit of broken shit, but a lot of stuff in the back, I guess, just fairly normal. Chest is really bulky, don't like the design. It looks like way too smooth, you know? Like, we're in the arid Badlands, like, why is a chest looking smooth? But it's a thing they're going for, you know? You can see the dust effects. Maybe it'll have some sort of cool effect, right? I don't know. That looks a little janky with the textures. And this is something where, you know, Morning After Kill fans will notice. A little bit of a extra animation for no reason to pick up that legendary weapon. Legendary weapons, the weapons look okay. I'm not expecting the weapons to look that crazy. You know, we've seen Tiny Tina's Wonderland, or yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I think, is the game. I keep on thinking of Dragon's Keep, but I think that's the DLC. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands I've also played, not to the extent of the other games, but I finished the game once or twice. And they changed the way the guns looked, so it's not like this is new in the engine where guns look cooler. You know, guns look cool. That's like a staple, you know? That's like always gonna happen. But we see, is that ammo or money? That kind of looks like money, to be honest. And then that's ammo, obviously. Generic looking ammo. It looks like the Hyperion, and that looks like, what, like TDOR SMG ammo? Looks like a Hyperion design for the pistol ammo, so I guess Hyperion's making a comeback. Probably a Maluan-esque item. Jacob's, probably hand cannon. Hand cannon? Revolver? Is that what they call them? I don't even remember anymore. And then, yeah, probably a Vladov-esque bandit sort of weapon here. But yeah, a lot of people don't like this extra pickup animation, and I get why. It could get annoying if this is actually a thing, where every time you pick up a weapon, it's this slow, like, hover pickup into the hand. But I'm not, like, it's not like, oh my god, the game's dog shit now, you know? It's just like, oh, okay. Doesn't really need to be there, but it's a little extra flair, if you will, you know? It's there, I guess. But yeah, moving on. We have what appears to be either a saw blade sort of shooting weapon, or like a sort of like a shrapnel shooting thing, like a shooting object thing. I don't know, like an energy, like a railgun, maybe. Actually, it's probably actually a railgun, and just eviscerating the Psycho, which is a pretty cool scene, to be fair. And as you'll see, a lot of the character models just look like the character models from, or the bandit models, I should say, just look like the bandit models from 3, just with, oh, robot arm here, ooh, robot leg there, you know? And I get it, same engine, it's upgraded version, to be fair, but, you know, they've had 6 years to make this. I expect a lot of, like, thought going into character design, you know? And I'm not gonna sit here and say that character design means everything. I just want to see that they put effort into the character design. Some of it looks cool, as we'll get into. But yeah, more generic Pandora-looking things. You know, different style plant, I guess. But it looks like a drill or something in the background. Nothing too major. Generic-looking level design here. And yeah, this person gets eviscerated. Can I actually get the scene? No, I don't think I'm going to be fast enough. Fuck. Oh, well. Basically, I'll get into it later, I guess, but, oh, I actually got it here. They've got really good gore effects. Can't really tell too much by the way it looks here, but we'll see consistently throughout the trailer. Great gore effects. That's something we can all agree on. Great gore effects. But yeah. Cool enemy design. I like to see this. This is something we haven't seen before. Some sort of alligator-looking dinosaur thing. I don't know what the fuck this is. Looks cool. Looks badass. I like to see that. In the background, you have, like, the cyberpunk-looking city. We saw a lot of this concept art at the reveal trailer, before the reveal trailer. This is probably most likely, like, a city hub. This is probably going to be, like, the... I don't think it'll be... Maybe it could be Sanctuary, to be honest. Like, the Sanctuary Zone, if you don't know what I mean by that. It's, like, the player hub area. So that could be interesting to see in the background. Could also just be a normal level. Fairly generic looking swamp environment. We've seen it before in the previous Borderlands games. Nothing like crazy. Moving on, we have a generic looking... Like, this looks like you could literally take this exact area and, like, one-to-one image it from a Borderlands 3 area. Like Mouthpieces area. Like, right before you get into Mouthpiece. You have, like, the bridge area where, like, vehicles come from the side, and there's, like, a big race right here, you know? Like, a lot of this looks like reused assets, which I get it, same engine, but it is, like, you've had 6 years to develop this, you know what I mean? And there's talks that they've been developing it even before 3 released. I think that just means they're using assets from 3, but you can take it as you know, trust in the developers. I don't really believe Randy. I think in the breakdown of the trailer for, what is it, State of Play, I think it was, for PlayStation, I think Randy Pitchford was talking to a different Randy, and he was literally like, yeah, don't worry, baby bird, I'll feed ya. Not a good look, Randy. Not a good look. Anyways, we see like a cryo weapon, presumably, maybe a shock weapon, Malawan-esque. Now, some people are theorizing that the game is going to have legendaries on random drops again, like legendaries are going to be more common than purples, which I'm going to be calling legendaries the yellow variants. Some people get a little confused with that, so when I'm referring to legendary in this video, I will be referring as the orange color as legendary. There are purples in the game. I will call those purples, and whites, and you know what I mean. Not the right, you know what I mean. The weapons, the weapon rarity. But yeah. So he gets this kill here, and then we see for a quick second, this thing drops. This thing is theorized to either be, I think it could be a class mod, because it's like an orange shield looking thing, rock-ish thing. So it could be a class mod, to be fair. I think this is what replaces Iridium, personally. I think this will be like the new Iridium currency. I think this will be like the thing you take to the vendor to extend your ammo shits and everything, because there's no reason for Iridium to be around here. And it looks very distinctly, like, obvious it's there, you know? It just gives me that vibe, you know? Especially from a random kill. Kind of makes sense that you'd get like an Iridium, you know, from a random kill, as you do in most of the Borderlands games. Obviously, the ones that had Iridium, but yeah, I think that'll be like a normal thing. And it kind of seems like, if I'm not mistaken, as he's walking past, it also sucks into him. So that leads me to believe it's a form of currency. And then we get to see big robot arm dude, presumably, whip out his elemental axes here, as we've seen in the reveal trailer. And we see him throw the axe, another great gore explosion on a very bleak looking background, I guess. You know, it's just like a cliff, I guess. So we get to see the skill confirmation there with the elemental axes, another clip of that. I don't think it's that cool of ability. Another problem I'm gonna have with this game, at least from everything I've seen, I love class shooters. I love Team Fortress. I love Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, one of the undisputed goats of hero shooters that people forget about, you know? Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, the GOAT days, you know what I mean? Like back in the day. Holy shit, Overwatch came out, what, like almost 10 years ago now? Fuck, I'm getting old. Anyways. Yeah, I do like my hero shooters. I like classes. I like this character does this thing. He's weak in this area, but he's good in this area. You know, when I play Dark Souls, I like speccing into just strength. I don't like doing all my stats 100, you know what I mean? Or 99, right? Actually, in Dark Souls, your skills can't get to 100. I know. Anyways. So, I like class shooters. In this game, I've yet to see any ability that's like, ooh, I can't wait to use that, you know? At least in Borderlands 3, I could see, like, the Beastmaster and be like, oh my god, I've always wanted to use a Skag as a pet. That's so sick, you know? Oh my god, Zane has a clone. I play a lot of Zero. I can, you know, I relate to that, you know? He also had a dome, which is very, very, what's the word? It's very applicable to a lot of tank classes with like a big dome. You know, Titan Bubble is a good example back in the Destiny days. Destiny is another game I've played for a long time, but I've cut ties with that game and the franchise because I just can't trust the developers anymore. If you still play the game, hey, my heart goes out to you. I understand, brother. But yeah, no, I've cut ties with that game, and I'll get into why I'm cutting ties with this. But as you're slowly gonna realize, there's nothing in this game that, like, speaks out, at least to me, and to, I imagine, a majority of the fans. So, I enjoy class shooters. Those elemental axes, they kind of look not great, you know? If we take a look, like, don't get me wrong, it's, like, cool, oh my god, they're axes, and they're elemental, woo! You know? But, like, that's it? You know? I don't mean that's it in terms of, like, what the character's gonna do, but it's just, like, that's it? You know? Like, they don't do anything super special, they just hit, and then they explode. Like, maybe the skill tree adds shit to it, but so far it's like, oh, okay. A different type of grenade. You could, like, oh wow, I get a skill point fucking fastball, you know, for the Borderlands 2 fans that know. But yeah, nothing like too crazy there. We get to more bandits. All of these designs, I'll be honest, look very terrible because they look like Children of the Vault designs, and they look like a copy and paste. Like that hairstyle that's literally Troy's hair. I swear to God, copy and pasted onto that design. Swear to God, I killed that fucking psycho 6 years ago in Borderlands 3. And these psychos, this machine appears to be an enemy that comes off someone's back. That's kind of a cool idea. I'd like to see more of those ideas. Enemy design, again, doesn't make the game, but it's just like one of these, like, okay, you guys clearly copy and pasted assets from Borderlands 3. I expect, like, the gameplay to be very good if you're just copy, paste. There's not really a lot of excuse for a lot of the other shit to not work well. You know what I mean? Because Borderlands notoriously has a really dog shit endgame as of recent. Or just in general has a dog shit endgame. You know, you could arguably say Borderlands 1 or the pre-sequel has the best endgame in terms of balance, you know? Not in terms of things to do. Obviously, 2 would be the GOAT at that. You could arguably say 3, maybe, because of Maliwan Takedown and all that other shit. But yeah. Yeah, so anyways, generic looking designs, generic looking area. This looks like I'm in Mouthpiece's stronghold. That's not like an attack or anything. That's just like, nothing is bad yet. You know what I mean? Everything looks okay so far. You know, gets the kill there, dies, throws the TDR weapon, explodes. Oh, actually, we get like a much closer look at what that shield item could be. That could be like a booster shield, to be fair, but I still have a strong feeling that's like a currency. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's already been confirmed what it is. I don't know, and I don't care. Moving on. This is clearly the assassin dude. It's the guy with the nose ring, brownish, kind of Mexican dude. I don't fucking know what vibe they were going for. But very generic-looking NPC guy with the nose ring is pretty much as I remember him. And it seems like he uses an action skill here, where it's very hard to tell if he gets into a mech suit or if this is just him dual wielding, because he did just throw a gun, and it's very similar to the one on his right hand, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, it's pretty much the exact same, but like it has like an effect on it, and it kind of like digistructs into his hand like a TDR kind of would, and his left hand could be a weapon, to be fair. Also could be just the skill is I dual wield with the second cannon, you know, similar to Zane's arm cannon, I guess. But yeah, so shoots like that. Just fucking clicked out of the video. That was weird. But yeah, so that happens. So we get a reveal, maybe a little bit more of what this guy's skill tree is going to be. Again, this just doesn't really look like anything. Like, it's hard to tell. Is this like a shield in front of him? Like a Zane shield that just blocks damage? Is this a mech suit he just got into within a second and he digistruct 2 hand cannons? It's I think this is quite clearly like a dual wield aspect, or at least his right hand is whatever your current gun is. I think is quite clear because this is just the gun he threw before. And then we have this, which is the siren, as you can see with her hand. She looks very white in this, which in the reveal trailer, I thought she was like a dark Asian. You know, I thought we were looking at like Korean over here, you know? This looks more like a Maya, you know? Like this looks like a white woman, you know? But I don't care too much about if they're white or black or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I just want fun characters, good dialogue, and a tolerable story. But they use some sort of grenade thing, which I'm assuming is going to be a siren skill, and it looks like it causes a black hole of sorts, and it doesn't seem to suck in enemies, and right here you get the first janky, their head looks like it's snapped the other way, like they're ignoring what's happening, as someone gets literally exploded here. They die, and yeah, another generic looking background. They do have a lot of color, I guess, added in, but a lot of the background so far is very much just assets there. It doesn't really feel too much of like a level, you know? Like when I look at Caustic Caverns, there's like a whole level idea behind it, you know? You have one main path that you take all the way around into a giant circle, and then there's little offbeat patterns. So far, all of these environments so far don't really look like they're very coherent, and they all look very, this is a boxed room, and they sort of just like, let's add staircase here, let's put box there, let's put railing here, why not, you know? Which isn't a necessarily bad thing. It just, there's no theme yet, you know? I'm not noticing anything here being like, oh, that's for sure this area so far in the trailer, other than, like, obviously that city area, which it looked pretty bland outside of where the city was. But, yeah, anyways. Yeah, you can see the NPC looking the complete opposite direction. Maybe they're in co-op and there's another player with them or something here. Yeah, it's just a little weird, you know? I'm not saying it's, like, bad, like, this happens in games. This is something where, like, a lot of people could complain about, I could see, but, like, this is just something that happens in games. Like, this is, you know, an NPC who's trying to kill you isn't always going to be looking at you, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's just a game thing. Absolutely shreds them. Could be an effect of overkill damage, which, if you don't know, in the earlier Borderlands games, if you did a large amount of damage, like overkill, I think was the term, it would explode the enemy into guts and gore. I think in the later games, it's kind of just like a headshot does that, so that's probably what this is. Maybe it's an overkill mixed with headshot here, and that's why it's so much gore, I guess. But yeah, and then we move to the snow zone, where we get more of the big dude. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the big dude. Oh, interesting, actually. Is this the big dude? I think this is the big dude. I'm pretty sure this is the big dude. Because of the robot arm, mainly. But, yeah, he summons, like, a fire gauntlet instead of the axes, I'm guessing. Woo, you know? Crazy skill tree, right, guys? But, yeah, he does this on the kind of Iridian-looking monster thing here. Very prism-looking thing. New enemy design, I'm cool with it, fine with it, not really angry about it, whatever. Wonderlands also did a good job at adding, like, new enemy designs, even though they reused a lot of it in the DLCs, and that's why I think the game just fucking died, because they cut pretty much all development from it within the first year. I know it's a spin-off game, but not a good track record, we'll say. But yeah. We cut to this area after seeing the Fire Gauntlet Man in an ice zone. We've seen ice zones before. I guess this zone looked a little more icy. You know, a lot of chunk. Probably another enemy there, by the looks of it. But yeah, you get to see this big wall here. Another generic looking area. Nothing like too distinct about this area, you know. Psycho runs up. This is something that could be fucking annoying in the game. Now, I've played a lot of games like Apex Legends, I think is a good example. Is his name Gibraltar? The guy who throws up the dome? I think his name's Gibraltar, because I'm pretty sure I used to always call him Gibby. My problem with him was that every time I used a pistol and I would shoot, my fucking arm was always in like 40 to 30% of my screen, and I couldn't see below it. This could get fucking annoying. I know it's like a minor thing. This is like a reason someone would not want to play this character. Their screen constantly getting fucking 30% of their screen gone just by their fucking arm from their character hammer firing a pistol, you know? And I get it, minor thing. I get it, right? But it is just like little things so far I'm not really interested in. Right? And then we get some more enemies. This looks like a weird Iridian sort of style enemy. And then they look like they might be not fighting each other, but it looks like they might be like coercing, might be like working together. Here we see what presumably is the guy, the commando-esque assassin dude, nose ring guy, I guess I'll call him, throwing two double-bladed, or not dual-bladed, two fucking saw-bladed explosive things. They explode. I'm assuming that's either a grenade mod or a skill tree thing, somewhere like the midway through, you get like the ability to do that. Could just be a grenade mod, to be fair. You know, could just be a grenade mod. Borderlands does have wacky grenade mods, could just be a grenade mod, to be fair. So that could be another thing the guy does. This, I think, is the Black Lady, maybe? Clearly a Torrid weapon. It's just another asset from Borderlands 3, but it looks okay. You know, they're not bad, right? Everything's okay, everything's mid so far. You know, you see the background looks pretty cool. A lot of chunky design in the area. That looks like it might be, that's probably just the same thing as that, like a crate, another crate there, and like a big building in the background with some generic looking ball things with prongs on it, I guess. But yeah, guy explodes, probably just, I don't think I can say the word, so we'll say a guy who explodes. I think that's a safer way to put it. Don't want to use the actual term of the enemy name, but yeah. Badass Psycho, generic, big arm dude, little arm dude, or big arm, little arm guy. That's how Badass Psychos always are. This is pretty much their moveset from 3 as well, if I remember. They just do the spinning thing. Generic looking dock area, Jacob's shotgun. You know, a lot of this background is like cliffy, rocky, which like plant sort of area. A lot of this area looks very similar to things we've already seen. I'm really worried there's only going to be like 4 distinct zones in the whole game. I don't know if it's been confirmed you go off planet or if this is just one planet. But yeah, so far it's like there's a snow biome, there's a rocky grassy biome, there's a like scrapyard area, which we saw here, and then we have like the desert area. Generic areas, hey, it works, okay? You know, not necessarily bad. Guy exploded, cool gore, chest opens up, whatever. And then, oh my god, big reveal here, guys. This is the black woman, by the way. This is something interesting I saw. This is the black woman, the lady on the right when you're looking at the whole crew. Don't know anything about her yet, I think, other than that she's short with an afro. That's about it. I keep on clicking out. Yeah. Big reveal, guys. Oh my god. Did you see that? They're swimming in a game in 2025. I never thought I'd see the day. Honestly. Swimming in a game in 2025? Wow, man. They really updated this game. You know? I personally think this is like where I lost my faith in the game. Not because it's like, oh my god, they added swimming, which should have been in 3 in hindsight, but they didn't really have any like zones that would really fit swimming. They've never really had zones that fit a swimming idea, other than maybe a few zones in the old games, like the one Crazy Earl Scrapyard. What was the place you got the beer cans or the beer bottles in the first game? I can't remember. It was Earl's Mission. I can't remember, but they've had a few areas in the games where they've had water, but it's never been like, oh my god, I wish I could swim. You know, it's always been like, oh, there's water. You know, so yay, we got swimming, I guess. But they cut from the black lady jumping into the water, and now we're looking at, as you'll see here, the presumably big dude, but this could also be a skin. I thought originally this was a skin for a character, just because the arm is different colored, but this could be the big dude, because his hand's really big. He's got those black nails, which I think he's had previously, and this arm looked very similar to the one we saw do the rocket arm very early on in the snow area. As you can see here, similar hand design. But yeah, they just cut to a different character. I just thought it was weird. Like, I don't know. Little thing, I guess. But the big reveal in this trailer was quite clearly, hey guys, they're swimming. Oh, you know, like, cool. You know, we didn't get a lot of looks at vehicles or anything like that, but swimming? Really? We're hyping that up now? Okay. So we get a dock-looking area, probably near the scrapyard slash, like, city. Killing generic bandits. You get to see that orange thing again. And then it cuts to grappling hook with a presumably Jacob shotgun. Assassin, nose ring dude. Double jumps here, which you can see with his bionic legs. That might be a thing he can only do because of his bionic legs. Cool, I guess, but like grappling hooks we saw in the reveal trailer. I never really felt like the game needed it, but it's not like a bad thing to have. And then we got the famous butthole, as Mac calls it. Morning after kill. He loves to call this the butthole. To be fair, it does kind of look like a space butthole, but I think this is the black lady using it. And she brings up whatever the fuck this is. I have no idea. And then shoots the disco ball. And it looks like it does every element, maybe? Or looks like it's the stellar element from Pokemon? Like, I don't know what the fuck it was. But, okay, cool, big explosion. So far, that's, I think, everyone covered. Yeah, we had a Siren ability, Big Boy ability, Assassin might have an ability, or we saw him, like, Digistruct that gun, and then we saw the Black Lady use the Disco Ball, so... If those are the three selling points of the character, or if those are the main selling points of the characters, man, what a fall from grace. None of them look like, maybe it's like, oh my god, I can't wait to use that for you guys, but I don't know if I'm the only one. None of those skills looked at all something I would want to, like, have fun using, you know? Like, when I see Amara phase locking, or like Maya phase locking, or mind controlling with the one skill cap, or when I see, you know, Lilith phase walk in the first game, I'm like, oh my god, I could do a lot of things with those. With these skills, I just, like, I feel nothing. They're just like, oh cool, I get an extra gun. Wow. Salvador fucking fans are up right now, guys. Oh cool, I shoot a fucking disco ball. What are we, Mirage from Warframe? Like, okay. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing, but none of these really... I don't vibe with anything here, man. Cool kill, I guess. This kind of looks like paint more than gore, to be honest with you. Another, like, Iridian-looking thing. More Iridian-looking guys, I think. And a very colorful city. And now, this is where I'm going to bring up the fact that a lot of people point out that there's a lot of clutter and a lot of shit going on in the background, like all these like neon signs and, you know, bright vibrant lights and fucking more signs and all these bright colors and loot crates and everything. It gets very hard to tell where I don't know, like a very shaped enemy, like, because these enemies are quite clearly just shapes, right? They're very much like prism characters. Yeah, I don't know how to really explain it very well, but they're like a shaped character, right? Like it's based off like a prism here, or iridian, whatever you want to call it, right? It's very hard to tell enemies from afar when there's a lot of background shit going on, you know? So I kind of get what people are coming from. I will say it's not the biggest, like, the game's gonna fail because of it for me, but I do think it's like a not great thing. Especially because a lot of people are pointing it out now that Borderlands in the Unreal Engine, or sorry, I should say Unreal 5 engine, is very cluttered. There's a lot of like clunky, or not clunky, a lot of chunky things in the background that take up a lot of noise when you're trying to, you know, shoot all these enemies. And especially if there's a shit ton of enemies. It's gonna get kind of hard to tell when there's like a bunch of chunky fucking crates in the back that look like these enemies. Just something to point out, I guess. It's a big talking point I've seen a lot of people talk about. I don't care too much about it, but yeah, moving on. Gets the kill. We get to see this Destiny-looking rocket launcher here, where he's unloading while jumping, like floating above the air. I really hope that's not a skill, the guy just floating in the air. I think that's the big dude. I hope that's not a skill, where it's just hover. Yeah. Not really anything going on either. Just looks like a generic desert area with water, you know? Yeah, nothing really else to talk about here. This, like, it's just him killing someone with fire effects on the ground, I guess. Cool fire effects. Then we get to see the Siren. I believe that was the Siren, actually. Killing shit, and seems like there's grenades bouncing around. Could be enemy grenades because it's got the red aura. But yeah. And then this big thing, pretty cool enemy design. Get to see a cool new weapon. But like, Wonderlands did that, and Wonderlands was made 3 years after 3, and it was quite clearly just reusing assets, adding shit to the guns, you know? And like at this point, it's like Borderlands is expected to have unique guns. You know, even the pre-sequel had fairly unique looking guns, even though they were very close to Borderlands 2 weapons. 3, comparing 3 to Wonderlands is a lot harder than comparing 2 to pre-sequel in terms of the way the guns looked. Because 2 to the pre-sequel looked very, very similar, where 3 to Wonderlands, you could argue they put a lot more effort into the weapon design to theme it around the whole Dungeon and Dragons theme. This just looks like a cool new weapon. That's great, you know? Foresty area. We get to see a new enemy here, too. Looks pretty cool. And probably another Siren ability. Summoning a Phantom Ghost thing. Probably the coolest looking ability out of everything we've seen. We get to see potentially a throwing knife. Whatever this was. And then the Psycho runs up and hits the screen. And I think that's it. Borderlands 4 and the release date. So, with the trailer done, I'll actually leave the release date here. With the trailer done, let's get into why I'm not getting this game. Probably not getting this game. Nothing in this trailer was appealing to me as a fan of Borderlands at all. And I know if you're lacking brain cells, you might be like, well, you just want Borderlands 2, but better, you know, and they have to, like, actually improve their games, you know, Borderlands 3 wasn't even that bad. Sales will disagree with you. Now, did Borderlands 3 succeed in sales? Yes. Borderlands 3 had the hype of them taking a long time from Borderlands 2. I actually think it was 6 years. I could be wrong. I think it was 6 years between the release date of Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3. And it's the same amount of time for the sequel of the game. Okay? Or roughly. It's within the same ballpark. I expect a lot more in this game. I'm not, like... Wonderlands is like, okay, you guys had 3 years to develop this. Smaller team, maybe, probably, because you're working on the next title. I get it. You know, you're trying to, like, fit in with the themes, go half-ass with the character creation, and the, what's it called? The classes, you know? I thought the classes were just not well thought out, because I think the max level, wasn't the max level super low, like 40? It was something really low like that, you know? So wasn't impressed with the skills in Wonderlands. Not impressed with the skills in this game. Borderlands has constantly said they like the idea of every class serving the same purpose so that they can all be well-rounded. That's not the point of a class-based game. I understand the thought process, but when the majority of the community loves to play Borderlands 2, one, because they're classics and whatever, off of nostalgia, they're also playing it because the classes feel unique, you know? When I'm playing the Psycho, I'm going to struggle in certain areas, like the bunker, you know? Obviously, we're excluding, like, cheeses here, we're just talking about generic playthroughs. Krieg is going to struggle more with bunker than Zero is, right? The Assassin is going to do better at Hyperius the Invincible because of Boar than fucking Krieg is going to be. You know, that's another good example. The Psycho. You know, the Psycho skill tree is completely based around him taking damage and having benefits from him taking damage and having him cause himself damage with, like, the silence the voices in the middle tree. And then on the right tree was the whole burning path, where doing elemental damage causes him to be on fire, which then shoots fireballs. And he also gets to do fire breath. The Psycho was one of the most unique characters they've ever released, and one of my favorite characters they've ever released because he was hard to play. You know, and I'm not saying that Borderlands 3 and 4 need to be hard to be fun, but Borderlands 3 is brain dead easy. And I don't mean that, and I'm not trying to shit on people who, like, have struggled playing Borderlands 3, but it's hard to do bad in Borderlands 3, you know? Enemies' hitboxes are pretty big. Their faces are pretty chunky. You point, you aim, you shoot, you know? Borderlands 2, a lot of the damage values felt like they were much higher when you play through the games. And a lot of the boss fights, you go down and it's like, oh shit, you know? And Borderlands 3, if you go down, it's pretty easy to get back up. Especially because enemies will typically bum rush you in that game. And yeah, the game in general is just chunkier. Every enemy is chunkier, you know? Everything's a lot more obvious in Borderlands 3 as well. So I'm not really that sold that Borderlands 4 is going to give me the same feeling any of the other Borderlands did. Borderlands 3 on my first playthrough, while brain dead easy and while it did have its big problems, number one, Borderlands 3 did not have dedicated loot drops. It now does, I understand that, but people still kind of just farm, what's it called? Those farm like big bosses to get world drops because they drop a lot more common. The Mayhem levels, I think is what they call them. They could have changed the name by now. Could be wrong. The Mayhem levels suck ass. OP levels are a good idea. Wasn't the greatest, like, put into play practice. But you understand the idea of, like, oh, you want to fight tougher opponents? Okay, we'll do this challenge. Then you can prove you can fight, like, the game in that sort of level difference, right? But there's no reward for really doing it, you know? It should give you a lot more rewards for doing it, you know? Mayhem levels are just dumb modifiers that are just really shit and boring, you know? Like, big goofy heads. Like, I get it if you want to play Borderlands, you want to turn off your brain, and you work a 9 to 5, and you just want to play a game for stupid, haha, funny fart jokes. But that's kind of like the angle Borderlands has gone recently. And I'm not seeing anything to tell me that's not what this game is going to be about. We haven't seen anything about their narrative, but we haven't seen anything proving that they wouldn't go back to Borderlands 3 dialogue. If you don't know, I genuinely rate Borderlands 3 dialogue as some of the worst dialogue I've ever seen in video games. Whether you like it or not, the majority don't. Otherwise, the game would be booming right now. People would still be playing it. People still like Borderlands 2. People still play Borderlands 2. I think Borderlands 3 might have higher numbers on Steam charts right now. Barely. Borderlands 2 actually, I think, might be higher. I'm actually curious now. We're actually going to find out together. You know, so I'm not completely biased here. Borderlands 3 Steam charts. But yeah, it's just... I know the game is going to be pretty easy. Definitely seems that way from the trailers. I have no inclination the game's going to be, like, hard. The games aren't supposed to be hard, but I would like my brain to activate when I'm doing things. So we see 10,000 in a 24-hour peak. And the problem with Borderlands now is that it's so, like... Borderlands 3, it was very long, it was a hard slog to get through, and then you're rewarded by, like, doing... pretty much fucking nothing in the endgame other than, like, what, Maliwan Smackdown? And then I think there was the raid bosses to farm. But Borderlands 2, the thing that's good about Borderlands 2 and makes you want to sink hours into it is the fact that once you get to the max level and you've done the game 3 times, even though it does kind of suck to do the games 3 times, every single Borderlands has that mechanic where you're supposed to do the game over and over again. That's what I'm assuming they're going to go for with 4. No inclination why they wouldn't. It actually doesn't. It has half the amount in 24 hours. So, yeah, Borderlands 3 is more popular right now currently, as far as Steam charts go. Even though I think the game's more popular on console. But regardless, I'm not trying to argue here about, like, Borderlands 3 being worse than 2. My whole point is just Borderlands 4, from these trailers we've seen, I have yet to see something that grabs me. Borderlands 2, all the characters, my friends were talking about it at the time. Borderlands 2, great memories and everything. I play it because of nostalgia. I play it because the game's actually good. It has an end game. It has great dialogues. It has characters I care about, like Mordecai, like Bloodwing. You know, Handsome Jack, one of the best video game villains to ever fucking walk the planet of the Earth, you know, or ever be developed on the Earth, in my personal opinion. You know, Handsome Jack's up there with the greats. You know, so, yeah, I rate Borderlands 2 very, very highly in terms of a game, you know, And there's so much about Borderlands 2 that was really good, and they've strayed so far away from Borderlands 2. And if you like the new direction, you can, okay? But I'm just saying, it's not gonna do well for the game if they're not doing what the majority of people want. That is the objective fact. Whether you like it or not, if the game does poorly, even though Randy Pitchford said fucking Wonderlands did well, even though Wonderlands was one of their least selling Borderlands games, I think it actually did worse than the pre-sequel. Could be wrong about that. But Wonderlands basically went way below what a lot of people thought it was, and Randy Pitchford still said it was good numbers or something like that. Randy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He glazed the movie. He was saying like, oh, you guys want to play our games instead of watch our, high budget fucking movie that we spent all our money on for the voice actors and the fucking characters in it. You guys want to play our games instead? Huh, how flattering. The guy's fucking delusional. I don't think we need to argue about that. But Borderlands 4 looks like Borderlands 3.5. That's the best way I'll describe it. Yes, there's new skill trees, or new classes, I guess we'll say. None of them look that unique. Kind of a downgrade, in my opinion, from 3. If you like Borderlands 3 over 2, we can agree. I think Borderlands 3 cast looked more interesting than this cast. We haven't seen everything this cast is capable of. None of them have that oomph, None of them have that, oh, Zane Flint. Oh, he's a Flint. I know the Flints from the other games. Oh, Flak, that's a really cool cyborg. Oh, I always thought Zero was a cyborg. Or a robot. And, that's really cool. I can relate to that. Because I always like playing Zero. Oh, Fadeaway, he goes invisible, just like Zero. Oh my god, he's using a Skag as a pet, a spider ant. That's really cool. He's using racks as enemies. That's really cool. This doesn't have that. Ooh, I shot a disco ball. Ooh, I threw elemental axes. Like, it's 2025. This year is insane for games. You have GTA 6 coming out. I think around this release date. I actually don't know when it comes out. You have new Pokemon games coming out. You have fucking, what's it called? Killing Floor 3 coming out. You have Monster Hunter Wild coming out later this month. Of the time I'm recording this video. You have fucking Kingdom Come 2 that has released and is pretty much positively received from everyone. This year is killing it for games. Borderlands 4 isn't looking that good compared to these other games. To be a good sequel, you need to have that. Oh, fuck. Fuck, I think I just lost my voice. Whew. Anyways, to be a good sequel, you need to have an oomph. You need to have that, I'm grabbing these people in. And if that is, oh, our game has swimming now? Oh, look guys, it's a bunch of new characters. That doesn't bring me in. Oh wow, new weapons. Like every single Borderlands game. New characters. Like every single Borderlands game. There's nothing in this trailer that is like, wow, I can't wait to play this as a Borderlands fan. This looks like a game meant for people who don't know what Borderlands is. Like, am I wrong in saying that? I just feel like this whole trailer had nothing that's like refreshing, like, oh, I can't wait to do that in the game, Like, even Borderlands 3 introduced, like, the butt slams. The vehicle customization was more in-depth, Character customization was a lot better. The engine was a complete different thing, And I understand it's the same engine, and that's kind of gonna push a lot of people, whether you like it or not, it's gonna push a lot of people away. The fact that 3 and 4 look so similar. Borderlands 4 looks to be like Borderlands 3.5. This should just be an update or DLC that they could have added to the game. That's what it looks like. And now, you have a really big problem, because if the story is too long, no one's going to want to replay through the story a bunch of times on all these characters, because long stories for Borderlands don't have a good track record, we'll say. And if the dialogue is even close to what Borderlands 3 was, which if Randy Pitchford is greenlighting it, I'm a little fucking worried. and I believe the narrative screenwriters are is it screenwriters? Is that the correct term for the characters? I don't even know. I believe the same people writing this story wrote the story for 3, or it's like similar teams. I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct on that, or I believe I'm correct on that. But none of this looks like, oh my god, I can't wait for Borderlands 4, you know? At least with 3, it's like, oh, I can't wait for Borderlands 3. I had fun in the first month of Borderlands 3. I played Zane, and if you know what Zane was like on fucking the first year, maybe not first year, first 6 months of the game, Zane was the worst character by far, you know? I remember, I was literally doing Gravelord, I think that was his name, and... or is it Grave Warden? Might be Grave Warden. And we were doing, or I was doing Grave Warden. I was playing Zane. It took me like 25 minutes to kill Grave Ward. And it's like, I was using fairly decent stuff. I was max level, using legendaries with a decent, like, build that kind of worked together with my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it was kill skill based. I had the fucking drone out. You know, I had my clone out. I think I even used the barrier at one point while doing some of the farming. But it took me like 17 to 25 minutes on average to kill Grave Warden. And I had a friend of mine who was sitting right next to me, and he's like, oh, is it cool if like we trade every time we farm? And I was like, yeah, sure. Every time I get a kill, you get the controller. Throw like a split screen co-op mode, if you will, but like a hand controller to your big brother sort of situation. I gave it to my buddy. He signed into his account. He killed it as Flak within literally 17 seconds. He, I think, was using the same weapons. He just faded away, and he killed it within a few seconds. Zane sucked on launch, but I still had fun with the game. And maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe I do like difficulty a little bit more in my game. Maybe I rate that a lot higher when a game's a little bit more difficult. But for me, none of this looks enticing. If the game's difficulty is close to Borderlands 3, I think it's not going to do well. I think it'll sell worse than Borderlands 3. For sure. I don't think it's going to be close. I think this could be the worst selling Borderlands if it doesn't have great character customization, the dialogue is pretty bad, and the story's like 50 hours, we're looking at probably one of the worst Borderlands games of all time in terms of sales. And if the sales are bad, they're less likely to develop more content for the game. So whether you like Borderlands 3 and you like Borderlands 4's trailer or not, if the game is not appealing to a majority of the fan base, fans will not buy the game nor play the game. A big thing that happened in the Borderlands community, morning after kill, he was sat down with Killer 6. There was a few other people, I can't remember the other ones, but it was Killer 6, morning after kill, and I think it was 2 other people, content creators, who sat down with a person publishing Gearbox, or not publishing Gearbox, sorry, publishing Borderlands 3, and they were trying to get the content creators to basically make videos on tutorials on how the elements work in the game. That doesn't need to be done in 2025, how fucking elements work in a game. Unless it's something complicated, like a Genshin Impact, you never played this game before type shit, you know? But it's fairly easy to be like, blue damage, good on the blue health bar. Yellow damage, good on the yellow health bar. Red damage, fire, good on the red health bar. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. But the whole thing was that they were complaining because people stopped playing the game around Mouthpiece. If you don't know, that's within the first probably 20 to 40 minutes of gameplay, around the level 3 to 5-ish range, I think was the estimate. Maybe it was level 5 to 6. Very low beginner stuff, people stopped playing the game. That's where drop-off happened, right? I can see the same thing happening with this game, where people stop playing the fucking game, not because they don't understand the game, they just don't like it because it's not fun for them, you know? And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. If you want a game to succeed that has a legacy, like Dark Souls, like BioShock, like fucking, Killing Floor. I was gonna say Team Fortress, but like they haven't really made a new game in a long fucking time. Like It's another game with, like, fucking, I said Dark Souls, fucking, what's a game with numbers? Like Witcher, you know? Fucking God of War. All these games that make continuations from their games improve what the previous did. That's how they're successful. And they add things that people ask for, you know? People want unique characters. People want, like, not a dog shit fucking storyline, a long fucking storyline that you have to play through on every character fucking 3 times. Like, nobody wants that, you know? And yeah, at the end of the day, it's night. But I just don't think I'm going to be buying this game. I have no intention of buying this game. Nothing in this game looks appealing. It's not that the whole game looks like dog shit based off this trailer. This is just one trailer. I understand that. But something we all need to understand is that if the majority of people don't like what they're seeing, they're not gonna buy the game. And if the majority of the fan base isn't buying a game in an already stacked year where, ooh, gore effects, I can go play Killing Floor fucking 3. That's gonna be cheaper and probably a more complete game. Because let's be honest, Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands don't have a great track record of day one launches. No game really does, but that's just to say, this game could have a lot of bugs. That might drop off a lot of players. A lot of players already don't want to play the game because it's kind of just like, I don't really like the style of Borderlands 3. I'm moving on to something else. That's kind of what it's come down to, you know? There was a time where Borderlands was one of the most well-known games, similar to Halo, you know? And we can see why their fall-off happens. They don't pander towards their audience. And when you're a game developer and you make a game just for the person who owns the company, Randy Pitchford, that doesn't sell the copies. You make a game because you want to express this world and share it to everyone, you know? You want everyone to enjoy it, you know? Even a game like Dark Souls, where a lot of people who play it will get fucking frustrated. But you know what? When they complete their boss, when they finally beat the fucking gargoyles after 6 hours of attempting it, they get a rush of joy, rush of ecstasy, and that's why the games succeed, you know? Yes, people quit Dark Souls because they don't like it, but a majority stay because Dark Souls pandered towards what the fans wanted. That's why it's successful. That's why Elden Ring was so successful. That's why GTA 6 is probably going to be successful. That could age pretty well because GTA 6 kind of is red flags as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's been a long video. I yapped a lot, you know, so I'm sure a lot of people have already clicked off. But if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I hope you appreciate the breakdown I did. You know, maybe you thought it was dog shit. Maybe you actually really enjoy the game, and you're looking forward to playing it day one launch when you spend $150 for the collector's edition. Hey, maybe that's you, right? But as far as I'm concerned, this Borderlands fan is no longer buying their garbage games, and I will not be supporting the games by playing the games. How do you stop support from a game when you want it to improve? You stop fucking playing it. Because if you keep playing it, they'll keep on pumping out the slop. That's how it works. Because they see people playing it and they're like, oh, I guess the slop's working, guys. Keep shoveling it on. I'm done with the slop. I've cut ties with Destiny 2 as far as I'm concerned. I don't think I'll ever go back to that game. I've literally grown up on Borderlands, on Destiny, on fucking Halo, and on the BioShock series. I've grown up on those games. I played Destiny consistently for 11 years. I've played Borderlands consistently, more on and off for the past, holy shit, for the past probably 12, you know? And I think it's about time I cut ties. You have to come to terms with sometimes you want the franchise to do well, it's not going up, and it's only going down. So what happens when the stocks go down? Hey, you don't buy it, you know? That's what I'm saying. Or sorry, you don't sell when stocks go down. Yeah, that's actually a bad example. But yeah, I hope you get I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. I hope you're smelling what I'm asphyxiating. But I don't even think that's the right word. My brain is fucking fried. I've been doing videos back to back for a little bit here. But yeah, with all that being said, if you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you for watching. I do upload videos on anything I'm passionate about. I'll probably start uploading more videos about gaming content because I am kind of a gamer out there, you know, guys? You know, slowly building an empire. I will one day take over YouTube, you know? But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of the trailer. Not a fan of what I saw, and I'm not a fan of the series anymore. I regard Borderlands 2, I can't say it enough, man. Borderlands 2 is one of the best games ever made. Even now, with the bugs and glitches it has. But it's still, this is the direction we've came into, you know? It's been over 10 years, or I guess close to 10 years, and it's like, wow, guys, swimming! I'm over it. I'm done, you know? And sometimes you just gotta cut the cord. Sometimes you gotta cut the umbilical cord. You gotta stand up on your own 2 feet. And you gotta walk away. You gotta find something different, you know? Find that new game. Find that new franchise. Play the other games coming out this year. This year is looking banging for video games. And that's not even including all the indie ones that are gonna be coming out later on this year, I'm sure. But yeah, man, I'm done with this franchise. I can't. I probably won't be doing any more videos on this either. Unless they do another big trailer that might look promising. Maybe. It's hard to see them redeeming what this was, you know? As the big reveal, it was a pretty shitty performance. So yeah, it's pretty much all I wanted to say. Got my breakdown done. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.